And good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we continue on our chase towards the chase for the Pizza Hut X Series Championship. This is race number 15 of the season, which means including this race, there are only 6 more stops until we'll determine the 12 drivers that will battle it out for this season's championship. And right now, the way things are looking, we could be in for our third straight different champion, because right now, the 2 defending champions of the series, Benny Watson from Season 1, Elijah Gilbert from Season 2, neither one have yet found victory lane, and it's getting really crowded with race winners in the current 12-driver grid. We'll document that in just a minute. So those drivers definitely need to find victory lane ASAP, and maybe they can do it here today at Watkins Glen. We'll have to wait and see, as we are moments away from getting ready to go green here in the Zippo 200 at the Glen. Front row comprised of a couple of drivers coming off some really good momentum. Both had top 5 finishes in last week's race at Iowa Speedway. J Jefferson, our winner from Talladega, lines up on the pole position for this one, looking for win number 2 on the season, which would more than likely solidify himself a spot in one of the 12 places for the playoffs. And alongside of him is M McIntire in the 9, who right now comes into this race with the league lead in top 10 finishes at 7. As mentioned, both these drivers had great runs at Iowa last week. J Jefferson finishing runner-up to the eventual winner D Shears, and M McIntire brought it home in 4th. So both of them find themselves also in very good positions in the point standings. M McIntire in 3rd and J Jefferson now in 8th. So both of these drivers, more than likely with a victory, could end up putting themselves locked into the playoffs grid. Jefferson could be at that point already, but a second win would certainly solidify it for the driver out of AS Racing. Kind of interesting, too, we don't have a whole lot to go on for this race based on prior history, because the Pizza Hut X Series drivers have only been to this track one other time. That was last season. The defending winner is in this field, though, the 2 of A Baranauskas. So we'll see if lightning strikes twice for the driver out of William Brock Motorsports. We are going to be getting the command to fire him up in just a moment, but we should mention that coming into this race, out of the 12 available playoff grid spots, there are 11 filled up by previous race winners. Only one driver right now is in the playoff grid currently based on points. That's M McIntire. We'll fill you in on a little bit more in just a minute. Let's get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So right now, we have had a total of 13 different race winners this season. 2 drivers, though, are outside the top 30 in the points. 2-time winner Chloe Erickson and Glen Douthitt, our winner from Bristol, which means right now their wins would not count towards a chase spot. So with that being said, as stated, for the drivers that are inside the top 30 in the point standings that have a win, there are 11 of them in total. Jordan Anderson, Austin LaPlante, PJ Williams, J Jefferson, Angel Navarro, R Reynolds, Chelsea Bowles, D Shears, who won last week, Madeline Crenshaw, as well as N Pontzer and Jacob Rose. So that leaves only 1 slot available right now for a driver to get in on points, and that, as I said, is currently held by M McIntire. But he only is 4 points ahead of Elijah Gilbert and A Legacy. So that 12th spot in the point stands, if we have a repeat winner here today, could be a big battle between those 3 particular drivers to see who's going to be able to get it. You also can't count out a couple of other drivers that are just barely in the hunt. 10 points back from that final spot in the point standings is Christian Merritt Jr., and Noah Cars is also within striking distance in the 42. He is roughly 26 points back from that final 12th spot in the playoffs. All can change if either Chloe Erickson or Glen Douthitt work their way back into the top 30 in the point standings, but still ways to go here in the season. Anything is possible. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Time to give you your top 10 the points coming into this race, presented by Golden Corral. Austin LaPlante is the points leader. 34 points in hand this week. He holds over PJ Williams. M McIntire, after his top 5 last week at Iowa, jumped up to 3rd in points. Elijah Gilbert currently in 4th with A Legacy in 5th. Jordan Anderson, the 2-time winner, is in 6th, looking more and more like the 11 is going to be one of the first confirmed drivers in the chase for the championship this season. Christian Merritt Jr. is in 7th, J Jefferson in 8th. 9th place is Noah Cars, and Angel Navarro completes the top 10. 18 laps of racing here today, so for our 3 stages, the 3 stages will be split into 6 laps apiece. So at the completion of lap 6, 12, and 18 is when the stage points will be awarded. And we've seen for the past couple of weeks, not only in this series, but in Tax Slayer Truck Series as well as Hershey's Cup Series. Those stage points, ever so important. Off the final right-hander, Chevy Corvette pace car will make the right-hand turn, I should say, onto pit road. And the Zippo 200 at the Glen, track that I'm very familiar with, the first track I ever went to for a NASCAR sanctioned event, is green. We're underway. Let's roll. Got through the right-hand turn one of the most difficult portions of this racetrack, because you have to get the car way down to a low speed. A lot of drivers shift down to second gear. Some drivers prefer to shift down to first. As Jefferson and McIntire, the front row 1-2, and here comes McIntire. He's going to try the outside line here through the dog leg. People call it the dog leg, they call it the bus stop, and there, J Jefferson calls it his favorite turn on this first lap, and it just allowed him to leave Matt McIntire in the dust. Matt McIntire had a good entry, but had to lift a little earlier than I think he wanted to in order to compensate for a safe exit. Now drops back into second place with Kyle Langeland hanging there in third, and Cole Deaver currently in fourth, with Elijah Gilbert right behind him in fifth. And caution now? Thought I saw, nope, caution that. I thought for some reason, I saw one of the flagmen there waving a yellow flag near the entrance of pit road, but that's not the case, and boy, Matt McIntire is hungry. Trying to get that race lead away from J Jefferson. Last week, Dougie Shears became the second driver out of the Michael Norman Motorsports stables to go to victory lane. Madeline Crenshaw was the first, doing it at Daytona, and Matt McIntire swung around the outside line through the S's to take the race lead away from J Jefferson. Jefferson now having to battle with Kyle Langeland for second place. Meanwhile, there was some close door-to-door racing back there for fourth place. Cole Deaver, Elijah Gilbert, Noah Carr starting to mix things up there just inside the top five. Mentioned that for Elijah Gilbert and Benny Watson, a trip to victory lane is almost absolutely necessary at this point for them to be able to have any hopes of becoming a two-time Pizza Hut X Series champion. Cole Deaver, Elijah Gilbert know each other very well. Both drivers were in the hunt for the championship at the season finale at Auto Club last year. Is Kyle Langeland going to try and take the second spot from J Jefferson? Can't do it this time here in turn one. Talked about Noah Carr as being about 26 points back from that final 12th position in the live point standings. Well, he's now trying to work his way around Elijah Gilbert. That is for the 5th position, and he will take it. Back up towards the front here, see if anything's developing. Yeah, that battle for second still seems to be a thing. Jefferson with a rear decklet full of the Speed Energy Dodge Charger. Challenger, I should say. Kyle Langeland going to lose a little bit of ground there in the bus stop. And in the carousel as well. Tries to get a little bit more momentum heading down here into this left-hander, but not going to be able to do it. So now that Jefferson's kind of seemed to shake off Kyle Langeland, now can he start focusing himself on reeling back in Matt McIntire, who is out in front now. Kind of interesting in the terms of Matt McIntire out in front. Remember, I told you that the only other driver that has won at this racetrack was A Baranauskas, and she drove the number 2 car last season as well as this season for William Brock Motorsports. Well, guess who else drove for William Brock Motorsports last season? You guessed it, Matt McIntire drove the 3 car last year. So maybe utilizing what he learned in a William Brock Motorsports Chevrolet last year, now in a Michael Norman Motorsports Chevrolet this year. For Matt McIntire as well, he's looking for his first career Pizza Hut X Series victory. Also looking to make his first Pizza Hut X Series chase for the championship. And as things stand right now, if he were to go to victory lane, that would be 3 representatives from M that would be in the chase, along with Crenshaw and Shears. Crenshaw 18th in points, Shears after his win jumping up to 16th, so both well ahead of that 30th position in the points cut line, and both with very good chances of making the chase as well. Langeland not going away quietly, but Jefferson not going to allow him to take that second position. And as these two continue to battle, 15 of K Deaver is starting to slowly close his way in. Again, they take the side-by-side battle into turn 1. I think Langeland will have the advantage going here into the S's, so he might clear Jefferson for second place. Jefferson going to try and battle back here. They may still take this battle down to the bus stop. No, they won't. Instead, Langeland's going to get the spot, and now that gap to his right side going to be filled up by K Deaver and A Navarro. Deaver's going to very quickly slip by for third place. Navarro now going to try and take fourth, and he will not quite do it. Jefferson battles back up high, but boy, K Deaver, talk about an ultimate opportunist. Very quickly made the pass on J Jefferson, who had just then been passed by K Langeland, and now K Deaver finds himself up in the third position. A couple of weeks ago at Arizona, it was R Reynolds going to victory lane for the first time in his career, and he has now made an appearance up inside the top 10. Just got around J Gilbert, who's now up in 7th position. It's a good run there for RJ, who comes into this race currently situated in the 13th position in points. For a lot of these drivers, like Reynolds, like Shears, Crenshaw, they're just trying to keep consistent finishes with the wins they've got now to have that win count towards a chase spot. K Deaver just lost a spot to A Navarro. Navarro taking over the third position. Haven't really seen a whole lot of muscle out of A Navarro's Chevrolet, really, since he took the checkered flag earlier on this season at Las Vegas, though he has been pretty consistent still. 10th in the point standings coming to this race, and you don't run top 10 in points if you haven't had a pretty consistent year. I'll tell you what, you know, this almost looks like it's the battle for the race lead. It's not. This is the battle for second, going on over 3 seconds back behind the current leader, M McIntire, who is out in front with clean racetrack ahead of him, pretty clean racetrack behind him. He has set a blistering pace, and the reason for that is very simple. He's basically out there running qualifying laps, not having to defend his position, able to choose what line he wants into the entry of the corner, what lines he wants to the exit of the corner. He's able to basically pick and choose. These guys back here, their lines are basically decided for them when they enter into the corner side by side with somebody, and it hurts the lap times. So while these guys are back here losing about maybe a half a second each time that they cross the start-finish line, M McIntire is out there running qualifying laps, not having to defend his position. Couple of other drivers I just noticed popping up into the top 10. One of them pretty significant. That is P.J. Williams in the 48. Second in the point standings coming into this race. He was 34 points back from Austin LaPlante coming into this race. And LaPlante, his finishes have been okay the past couple of weeks, but they haven't been nearly as good as they were at the start of the season when he was really growing his points lead. Now P.J. Williams seems to be finishing just a little bit better than LaPlante each week, and he continues to chip away at that top position in the point standings. So, good run right now for 48 of Williams as he's currently running in that 10th position. See if we can find LaPlante. Wow, LaPlante's a long ways back. There he is. I believe he's running dead last. Yes, he is. So that's not going to be a good points day for the 16 unless this thing goes into some kind of a fuel strategy race and they're able to roll the dice. This driver I noticed back here as well that is running poorly is Chloe Erickson. We mentioned that Out of the 13 race winners this season, only 11 of them are currently in any of the playoff spots. Chloe Erickson is the only driver besides the 11 of Jordan Anderson who has 2 wins this year, but she is outside the top 30 in the points. She is 31st in the standings coming into this race. This is not where she needs to be running right now, battling for the 39th position with the 90 of Al Lagasse. So not at all a good run for Chloe Erickson. Not a good run either for Lagasse, too. We mentioned that Lagasse was one of those drivers, along with McIntire and Gilbert, Christian Merritt Jr., who was battling for potentially that 12th spot in the standings for the playoff position. And he's running back here as well, as is Christian Merritt Jr., who is right there in the 92, working his way up to teammate William Brock, the other 2-time winner this season, also not having a good run there. He is Anderson in the 11, running back right now somewhere around the 37th position. Meanwhile, up front, Matt McIntire showing the way, and this is big for Matt in the fact that he's running really well in the point standings coming into this race. And if he can close the deal and pick up a victory, that could solidify him a spot in the chase for the championship, which right now I think would then make it all 12 spots filled up. Trouble in the back! Just saw the 77 of Kyle Langeland go around, and this changes everything. Caution will probably be out. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. It is indeed, and now at the halfway point of this race, this changes everything up, and I guarantee you the last person who wanted to see that caution, you're looking at him. The race leader, Matt McIntire, who was just almost 5 seconds ahead of everybody else, but that was a battle for second that went wrong. Langeland was running in the second position at the time and gets involved in a wreck just out of the carousel. So this changes up everything, as I said, and Matt McIntire is going to have to try and set the blistering pace all over again, but he's going to have everybody lined up behind him when he does so. Let's take a look and see what brought out the first caution of the day just at the halfway point here of the Zippo 200. Alright, here it was through the carousel. R Reynolds all over the back bumper of Kyle Langeland 77, and just looks like Reynolds was right on the back bumper of Langeland. Langeland may have had to lift to be able to make his way through the carousel. Reynolds didn't have to, and the two of them locked bumpers. Langeland going to go into a spin right there, and it was at the point right here where he's facing the wrong direction that NNSCRA officials feeling they have to throw the yellow flag with oncoming traffic. The good news for Langeland, though, he just hit the steel guardrail a little bit with the left rear, and you'll notice here, I thought it was a much harder hit than it was. He's able to get the car turned back around, get it righted, and continue on, and I think he ended up crossing the line somewhere between James Shelly and Patrick Curtis. So I don't think he lost a whole lot of spots. It's obviously outside the top 10, but I think he's able to line up somewhere, maybe between 15th to 20th. So bit of a save there on the part of Langeland, but certainly losing a lot of track position, and that brings out the caution for the first time here today at the Glen. Pit stops just took place. Some drivers decided to come to pit road, some drivers did not. One of the ones that did was the race leader, Matt McIntire. You see him leaving pit road now, but Cole Deaver, Madeline Crenshaw, Ryan George, Ralph Mason, it looks like Noah Pontzer, and couple of others decided not to come to pit lane. James Qualls also stayed out. Trying to see who the other drivers were. Daniel Olson and Michael Haas all stayed out. Now, I don't know if they feel they can make it the entire way on fuel and that this caution gives them the opportunity to be able to save or not. Or if they think that we have not seen our last caution, but that could be a very interesting strategy, which could either go very, very well or very, very wrong for these 8 drivers that decided not to come to pit lane. So that'll be your top 8. Matt McIntire will restart in 9th with J Jefferson in the 10th position. Nobody out of the race. All 42 cars will be coming back to the green flag. This will be a very interesting lap as well, because when we take the green next time by is the completion of stage 2, and 10 valuable stage points as well as a playoff point going to be on the line. You look back behind Cole Deaver, you've got Madeline Crenshaw, who may be locked into the championship hunt with her win at Daytona, and with where she's running in points, she definitely would love to have an extra playoff point heading into the chase for the championship. Have to see if she's going to be able to get around Cole Deaver. Deaver had a very strong race car in the early session of this race, so we'll have to see with him if he is able to hold off Madeline Crenshaw in order to maybe get himself a playoff point. He's got one playoff point so far this season, one stage win. Apologize for my dog barking. Wait a minute. Is Deaver coming to pit road? Oh, no, he's not. Okay, they just took the corner really low on that apron. I thought they were going to follow the pace car in. So let's see what happens here. If this thing goes green to the end, those top 8 could be in trouble, but maybe they're risking it for that playoff point to cross the line first here. Completion of lap 12, green flag, back out. Look at him up here at the front. Mason making the move there. Whoa! Daniel Olson getting a little squirrely as his rear tire spun on the rumble strip. Deaver gets away for the moment. Then it's Crenshaw. Mason up there in third. Ralph Mason, if there's any kind of track he would thrive at, this would be one of them. Considered a road course ace. Looks like he might be getting ready to make a move on Madeline Crenshaw for second place. And Crenshaw going to close up the gap between herself and Deaver. So 3 Chevrolets, all nose to tail, coming through the carousel. Caution is out. And that might have been what these 8 drivers that stayed out might have been banking on. Question is, though, who's going to lead coming to the yellow flag and the end of stage 2? Deaver, Crenshaw, Mason. Deaver making his rear bumper as wide as possible, and it looks like it's going to work. Cole Deaver will bring him to the caution, and he will win stage number 2. So that might have been the entire plan right there all along. Hope for another quick caution, which they got, and race it out to see who was going to get that stage win. So more than likely, those 8 drivers that stayed out the last time will more than likely be coming to pit road this time. So they give up the track position in order to battle for stage points at the end of stage 2. Let's take a look and see what brought out the caution for the second time here today. And the reason I paused was I just noticed the top 10, and one name is conspicuously missing, and that's the 9 of M McIntire, who led a good portion of the first half of this race. Wonder if something happened to him. No, there he is. No, I guess nothing did happen to him. He just lost some spots on the racetrack. Let's see what did bring out the caution, though, for the second time here today at the Glen. Well, Christian Merrick Jr. has been having some really good finishes last couple of weeks, kind of from out of nowhere in the closing stages of the races, but that will not be the case here today. Watch as they all just start stacking up here, heading down to turn 1. That was Alexander Rowe and Benny Watson ahead of the 92. And, oh, right there, a little bit of locking fenders between the 09 of Rowe and the 92 of Merrick Jr., and it sends him down into the tire barriers. And those tire barriers are so unforgiving. They just rip the car apart. You see immediately the black smoke, the terminal black smoke erupting from beneath the Aaron's Dream Machine. And that is Christian Merrick Jr.'s day come to an early end here. Pretty much a solo car spin, but a hard lick for Christian Merrick Jr., not only on the track here today, but more than likely as well in the point standings when we leave the Glen. Let's go back now for the restart. Green flag will come back out with 4 laps to go here in this race. Lap 15 is when the green will wave once again. And you notice, those 8 drivers that stayed out, well, they're still out there. They did not come to pit road. So apparently, I thought that these drivers, that I knew the strategy they were basically banking on, and they were going to use this caution to come to pit road. I think maybe now the new strategy is they're using this caution to save some fuel. And they think they can make it the full distance with the help of these 2 yellow flags to the checkers. I mean, it's a crazy strategy, but if it's crazy enough to work, I guess the risk is worth the reward. So it will be Cole Deaver, Madeline Crenshaw, Ralph Mason, Noah Pontzer, James Qualls, your top 5. Daniel Olson, Ryan George, and Michael Haas. That's back through 8th. Those are those 8 drivers that have not come to pit road at all during this race. J Jefferson's 9th. And 10th place is now Elijah Gilbert. There's Noah Cars and M McIntire 11th and 12th. Only one driver out of the race up to this point. The driver that brought out the latest caution, Christian Merritt Jr. Green flag back in the air with 4 laps to go. Boy, Mason was quick to jump the gun on the last restart. Gonna do the same here as he goes for 2nd place off of Madeline Crenshaw. And he will take the spot. Now sets his sights on the 15 of Cole Deaver. There's one driver you don't want running behind you at a road course. It is that guy in the Andy Fox Late Model Series Fry Chevrolet. He's going to try and take the lead here from Cole Deaver. Thought better of it, backed off a little early there through the bus stop, and now maybe we'll try and make a run out of the carousel. Noah Pontzer has now moved up into the 3rd position, trying to pick up his 2nd win of the season, winning earlier on this year at Rio de Janeiro. Crenshaw there in 4th, but not for long. James Qualls takes the peak for that spot, and here's the battle for the lead. Mason takes a peek to the inside of Cole Deaver, can't make the move this time. And Deaver's coming to pit road. Oh, and Ralph Mason just ran into the back of him. Saved it though, but that was close. I don't know if Deaver didn't give a hand signal to Mason, letting him know he was coming to pit lane or not. And the caution's out. Caution is out, and this is a huge yellow flag because now the question is, would this yellow flag be enough for Ralph Mason to coast around and save enough fuel to win this race? We just had a couple of the drivers that decided to stay out come to pit road. One of them was the driver that was at the time scored as the race leader, that being Cole Deaver. I think also Michael Haas jumped to pit road, as did Madeline Crenshaw, and I can't seem to recall who the other driver was that stayed out. But the yellow flag is waving. You can see there the lights on this straightaway flashing yellow. Mason the leader, Qualls 2nd, Pontzer 3rd, Olson 4th. Would any of these 4 try and still risk it and stay out to try and save some fuel and pick up what would be for 3 of them their first win of the season? Mason is not going to come to pit road. He will come to receive the caution with 2 laps to go. This race will more than likely end under yellow. The question is, though, will Mason, Qualls, Pontzer, or Olson be able to make it the rest of the way? 5th place is Elijah Gilbert in the 55. If these 4 can't make it, Gilbert could inherit the race lead and potentially the race win. We're going to quickly jump aside, see what brought out the caution, and then come back for the last lap to see if Mason can make it on fuel. 3 wide here at the Glen. Joshua Osborne, defending winner A Baranauskas, and former champion Benny Watson coming down here into the final right-hander. And it looks like the 20 of Ashlyn Boyd might have been trying to come to pit road, so Watson's trying to give the 20 car room, and meanwhile there's 2 cars up to his high side. He's going to go around off the nose of both Baranauskas and Osborne. Hard into the wall goes the 24. Osborne also collected, and I'll tell you what, the last couple of weeks have just been absolute bedlam for the number 24 Chick-fil-A team. There was another spin up ahead. Somebody else wrecked. That was William Brock in the 62 getting spun up into the wall. And I think that was due to the fact that 12 of Matthew Daleo was trying to get to pit lane. So a lot of drivers not giving room to drivers that were trying to come to pit road, and that's what stacked them all up here out of the final corner. But now we got to see, does Mason have enough fuel to win this race? Getting ready to come through the final corners. This is going to be the telling sign. Does Mason make the turn to pit road? Yes, he does. As does Qualls, as does Pontzer, and Daniel Olson. And that turns the race lead over to the defending champion of the series, the 55 of Elijah Gilbert, with the white flag being displayed. I don't know why these four decided to stay out as long as they did and not see it through, with attempting to run out of fuel if necessary trying to win this race, but they have come to pit road and have put the race lead, potentially the race win, into the hands of Elijah Gilbert. Wow. One way or another, it looked like a backmarker motorsports car was going to win this race, whether it be Mason's 99 or Gilbert's 55, but this is huge and certainly not what a number of drivers who are right now more than likely confirmed into the playoffs wanted to see, the fact that the defending champion will have an opportunity with a 1 in the win column of possibly defending his title in the playoffs for the Pizza Hut X Series Championship. If I had been Mason, Pontzer, Qualls, Olson, I would have stayed out. If I couldn't maintain the pace being ran out of fuel, so be it. It would have been no worse than coming to pit road and giving up all the track position they did anyway. Oh, wait a minute! Gilbert just blew up! Gilbert just blew up from the race lead! What the heck? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Gilbert was en route to winning this race, and now the engine has exploded on the Monopoly Chevrolet, and now that would put the race win in the hands of Noah Cars. What an unbelievable turn of events. Are you kidding me? So now comes the question of, if Gilbert comes to pit road, he's going to have to maintain pit speed. Where's his pit stall in relation to the start-finish line? Could he cross the start-finish line on pit road ahead of Noah Cars? Noah Cars is given a lot of distance to the 55. Not sure I would do that. Get right up on his back bumper if you're the 42. Don't allow him that space that he could utilize on pit road to try and get to the start-finish line ahead of you. Oh my goodness gracious. This is crazy. Top four all pitted, coming to the white flag. And now the race leader on the white flag lap is smoking, undoubtedly going to have to come to pit road. Or does he just try and run it to the start-finish line? No, he's coming to pit lane. Now the question is, does he beat Noah Cars to the line? He's got to maintain the pit speed, which I believe is 35 miles per hour here at Watkins Glen. Question is, does he beat Noah Cars to the line? Let's see. Noah, you got to get up there. 42's not getting up behind the pace car. The pace car leading him. Oh boy, who's going to lead at the line? 55 still ahead, and the 55 just crossed the line ahead of the 42. Did they score him with the win? Yes, they did. Why did Noah Cars not pull up behind the pace car? With the 55 coming to pit road, he forfeited his race lead. Noah Cars should have pulled up behind the pace car, bypassing Elijah Gilbert on pit road, and he didn't. What a costly error by Noah Cars, and the race winner is going to be out of the race officially due to an ignition problem. That has got to be one of the craziest, most controversial finishes I have seen since Texas of Season 2, when there was that whole debate about who won the race off pit road between Austin LaPlante and Brandon Gonzalez. That is absolutely crazy. And it's been called official by the NNSCRA officials that it is Elijah Gilbert winning here today. Why did Noah Cars not pull up behind the pace car? I questioned when he came out of the carousel about 4 car lengths back behind Gilbert why he did not pull right up to the back bumper of Gilbert. And you see, even still, he's still way back behind the pace car. He should have, once Gilbert crossed the line, committed himself to pit road, he should have pulled up behind the Chevy Corvette pace car, inheriting the lead. He would have bypassed Gilbert before they got to the start-finish line. But because Gilbert's pit stall was after the start-finish line, and he crossed the line on pit road before the 42 did, Noah Cars just literally gave away the victory here today at the Glen. I am in absolute shock. Let's just get to the finishing results from this race. And that means that the defending champion of this series, he will be trying to probably defend his title in the playoffs, as he is inside the top 10 of the points coming in this race, 4th, and that win may have just solidified him a spot in the championship hunt. Noah Cars will end up finishing rookie of the race, but in second, a race that by all rights and purposes he should have won. But maybe a rookie error on his part. I don't know if there was problems with communication between him and his spotter and his crew chief. Whatever the case, they let this one get away. Navarro's going to finish the day out in third with RJ Reynolds fourth, and James Shelly will bring it home in fifth. Sixth for PJ Williams. He will probably continue to close in on the points lead that LaPlante had with a great top 10 run. Flickinger brings it home seventh. Glen Douthitt there in eighth. Jacob Rose ninth. Chelsea Bowles in 10th. The defending winner of this race, Baranauskas, brings it home 11th. Shears in 12th, 1 week after his victory. Dollerton, Parker, his teammates there in 13th, 14th, with Chloe Erickson. Well-needed run there for the 46. Nice comeback to finish in the 15th position. Talked about Williams finishing in 6th. Had to close up 34 points on LaPlante, and LaPlante finishes this race back in the 24th position. So I don't know if he's going to completely close up the gap, but he'll make it close, will PJ Williams, for that points lead heading into our next race. But my goodness, I've never seen something like that before, folks. Never in my life. What an unbelievable final lap here. Under caution, had more drama than any of our green flag laps here today at the Glen. Thank you all for tuning in to today's race, though. If you enjoyed the controversy, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finishing results. These are your rookie points and your overall points heading into next week's race. Tomorrow, we have the Cheese at 355 here at the Glen for the Hershey's Cup Series. And then next week, Pizza X Series takes an off week as it's road course racing for the trucks at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And then Hershey's Cup Series action the same weekend at Thornton. Going road course racing there again. Wow. Controversy abounds here today at the Glen, but we'll see you guys next time as you've been watching a production of the SRA, offline racing at its best.